Welcome to the Spiritual and Cosmic Podcast of Lady D, the podcast where the mystical meets every day. I'm your host, Lady D, psychic, medium, astrologer, spiritual guide, and cosmic truth teller. Each week we'll dive into real talk about living in a spiritual life in a human world. The good, the bad, the beautiful, the messy, and in between. From psychic insights, astrology breakdowns, to soulful chats and cosmic truths. This is your sacred space to awaken, expand, and keep it 100% real. So grab your crystals, open your heart, and let's get spiritual and cosmic. Welcome back to Spiritual and Cosmic Lady D. I'm your host, Lady D, psychic, medium, astrologer, animal communicator, and Reiki practitioner. Today, we're diving into a topic that I know many people in the spiritual community have been talking about. Have psychic fairs changed? Over the years, I've worked at countless psychic expos, mind, body, spirit festivals, and spiritual markets, and I've noticed some big shifts. Attendance isn't what it used to be at many events. Some weekends have multiple fairs competing against each other, and many people are asking whether the industry is changing. In today's episode, I'm sharing my own observations from both a reader's perspective and also someone who has exhibited at these events for many years. This isn't about criticizing anyone. It's about starting an honest conversation about where psychic fairs are heading and what can we all do to get them to help them grow again. So let's jump in. So let's start. So how has psychic fairs changed? So when I started working in the spiritual community back in 2016, so I can't believe it's been 10 years. I feel like when it came to the readers, there was a general, like everyone sort of got along. There was a community feel with them, and the price was the same across the board. So everybody, it was like this sort of unspoken rule that everybody charged $50 for, it was like 25 minutes or 20 minutes around that time, and it was $50. And that seemed to go well. Then they were still at different, like small places, bigger places. The thing that used to always get me, even when I first started, is that the fairs were quite small, but yet they still attracted a number of people. So people would come in, have a little look around at the stands, they'd come and get a reading, they'd have some lunch, have something to eat at the club that it was at, and then they would tend to go, or if there was a stage, they would listen to different people talking on the stage, and then they would go. I do remember one fair was up in Goulburn actually, where they had, for some reason, too many readers. It was like over 20 readers, and it just where I was, we were hidden in a sort of room, and people weren't really seeing us. We didn't get many readings that day. People in where I was in that room, but that was okay because there was always a reason for it, and it was unusual. And but I did meet some great friends that day who I'm still friends with now. Another fair where I felt like the energy kind of started shifting. There was one time I'm sitting there and other people were too, and we're just sitting there not getting many readings. And then this one lady was getting a lot of readings. And I remember, I think I had just a bathroom or something, and you'd have all the prices on this board. So on the board would have the price, it'd have your bio pictured there, and you would see who you want to go to. Anyway, I noticed this lady, everyone was charging $50, as we always did, but this one lady was like undercutting us and charging more, like it was something like $30 or $20 or $30, and it was for the same amount of time. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that's why she's getting all the readings. And when people started finding out, they were complaining about it. And she did it again at another fair. Again, people complained about it. And then it just kind of, it made the energy a bit different. And I remember that was sort of the start of it. And that was, would have been close to COVID, because COVID changed everything. Because when we were in lockdown, of course, all the fairs, all the expos shut down. and like no one was doing anything. We're just more seeing clients at our home online. But I remember that kind of made a shift in the psychic fairs. But before that, it was a positive experience. You would travel like about 2 hours or more. Sometimes you'd have to stay over of accommodation at the fair. And yeah, you'd have a good time. You would make back some money. You'd cover your costs. And that's what you want. If you're doing it as a business, you want to make profit. If you're doing it as a hobby, then you're doing it, I guess, to cover your expenses. So there's a bit of difference in terms of if you're a stall holder or a reader, what's your business, hobby or business? Because some people, it is just a hobby for them. It's something they do to get out of the house. That's like their passion is. For other people, it is their drive. It's the part of their business. So for me, it's a business. I do also have another job, but it's a business for me. It's not a hobby. But we used to get a number of people, and then I feel like COVID happened, and with COVID became a shift. And also, too, some of the people that ran the fairs were a little bit, I'm going to say, funny. There was a fair that used to be on around different places. I won't say what the fair was called, but the lady actually did run a really good fair. I remember I really enjoyed being part of her fairs because they ran like clockwork. And the way she ran the reading room is that you'd have different sessions and people would come in and there'd be a bell. So people would come in at the same time and leave the same time. I remember I joined her sort of after COVID, but her fairs were ran really, really well. The problem was lady herself. She was a bit funny. She got a bit are they big for britches, and she started like so one by one, not taking readers out, and they were like not for they were for silly reasons, or people didn't really understand why she would be taking certain people out, which again changed the energy of the shift of the readers room. And she ended up having a whole brand new bunch of readers. And yeah, she was very, I don't know, a bit funny, a bit condescending, think that she was higher than what she was. And I think that also in the end changed the energy of her fair. And she doesn't do fairs anymore. So I wonder why that is. And she would avoid you as well if she kicked you out of the fair. She kind of would have avoided you too. But now let's see what else has changed. And I'm going to say it's pre-COVID and after COVID. So looking at after COVID is when the change happened, when the fairs started back again. The thing is that I think COVID did change a lot for people, and there just became like this swarm of psychic fairs. So it just one weekend you could find any weekend actually you can find a fair on any weekend somewhere. You'll find something somewhere. There were just too many fairs on at once. Or if it's not on the same weekend, it's in a short time frame of each other. So, you might have, say, if I'm looking at Sydney, for example, you might have a fair on in the Shire, say at Gaimea, but then the next week there might be a fair on, we'll say at Reesby, which is only like half an hour drive from each other. Or you might have an MBS festival, which is the big festival in Sydney on one weekend. The next weekend there could be one in, say, in Ashfield. Like they're in very close to each other. And I feel like that takes away because like back in the day, you would have, so prior to COVID, you would have a psychic fair on certain areas wouldn't be near each other and they would be months apart. So you might have a fair, say down Bomaderry would be every say, I don't know, 6 months, 4 months, something like that. There may be another fair, I don't know, maybe like, I don't know, Hoxton Park, but they're like hours apart and it's a different community that it's going to attract. Whereas now, they could be, say, a fair up Central Coast or say Hornsby, then you got a fair Sydney somewhere, and a fair maybe down in Camden, and then a fair somewhere else. Like there's too many, and they're, because in Sydney especially, you can drive anywhere and it's too accessible. So I feel like that is something that has changed. I do feel like there has been an increase in readers as well, and fair enough, readers want to go in and get into the fairs. But if your fair is quite small itself, where it's just like a singular room, it takes like, if you're browsing it, you take like what, maximum half an hour to get around it if you're browsing slowly, and then you have, say, 15 readers. You're not, it's just, that's too many readers for the size of fair that you have, and with all the other fairs going around. So I think that is also one thing that has changed. I think that there is a difference in the quality of readers as well. I think that there's a lot of competition between the fairs too. That's what I think that has changed. I also think too, when you look at the fairs, to go into these psychic fairs, you will see like there's like 5 crystal stores, and then you got like another few stores selling cards, and then another few stores that are healers, and then you got the readers. But it's like it's all the same thing. And I feel like that can also go in the, well, you only need a few of each. If you're going to a fair and you have, say, 5 stores selling the same thing, what's the point? Really? The person's not going to buy. I mean, you might be lucky. It could be a consumer that comes in and buys a crystal from every store, maybe, but not really. And also too, like some of these fairs or expos, whatever you want to call them, they call it themselves a wellness. I always see holistic or wellness. They use these certain words that are alternative health and wellness, or they usually have wellness in it, or spiritual, alternative, but then they don't have actually any stores that are about wellness, like the psychic, like being a reader. We're not doctors, but we can pick up health issues, but we're not a doctor. Like, I'm not going to give you a supplement, or I'm not going to give you anything to help the health issues. Like, they should be having like an iridologist there, or if you're looking at alternate health practitioners and you're calling it a wellness fair, maybe have someone that sells like different oils, different like the drops for certain issues, or creams, make their own creams. Like, make it cover that that heading, that brand. You It's just amazes me that you would have called these expos under some kind of wellness name, but have no wellness as such practitioners. I mean, Reiki is Reiki. I mean, Reiki can help you. Sometimes if it's a good person, they might be able to help if you've got a bit of pain. They're not going to heal you completely. But again, it's not like, yeah, it's just not the same. You might even have a healer there that does different healing modalities. That would come under that umbrella. I'm trying to think, homeopathics, there you go, the drops, the homeopathics, you might have that there, or a naturopath, a kinesiologist. These things are different, and they're going to keep people there, but you'll find that they're not there at the fairs, and yet they're calling themselves a holistic alternative wellness fair, and yet there's no wellness part of it. So and then you've got your people who are selling your candles too. So then you'll have like 5 the same candles, or different candles, but again, candles are candles. Quality may be different, yes, but one person's seen one store, another store, time I get to the 5th candle store, are they going to be interested in looking at the candles? Unless they really love candles. That's something you've got to look at as well. Now let's look at the quality of readers. I actually recently went to a fair that was on close to me, so I thought I'll go down and grab a reading. The reading wasn't great at all. The reader was, I'll say, no, a psychic medium. There wasn't really any psychic reading there, and I had to sort of lead the reading, what I wanted out of the reading. They couldn't give me sort of details. They picked up at some stuff around me, but not a lot. It wasn't worth the $80 that I spent for it. And I mean, if you're going to someone who's just a tarot card reader, then you're going to be going to someone that isn't intuitive as such. A tarot reader, as I said before in this podcast, if you're going to just a tarot reader, they are someone who has memorized the different cards, they know what the cards mean, and then they put them out in a certain way, and they know how to read that layout. That's what a tarot reader is. They're not really intuitive people, and any card can come out. If you're going out to a psychic, they may use cards, but they usually have intuitive ability, and they'll be able to give you details more than what the cards can say. If it's a medium, they'll be able to talk to people who passed over. But yeah, and I have found that since COVID, there's been a lot of people who've come out, and the market is sort of flooded. And some people are very good, some people not so good, depending on the person, what you're looking for. But yeah, there's definitely a different standard quality of readings. I mean, there's a fair I've been to recently, and there's still someone near me. They were charging a lot more than me, and I was like, "Geez, that price was a bit much." And they were calling themselves a medium, so saying a mediumship reading was $100 for, I think it was like 20. I think it was 20 minutes. I was charging $80 for 20 minutes. And when I listened to, I was right beside them, so I could actually hear what they were saying. There was nothing mediumship about it. They were just having a conversation with the person as if they were like a best friend. And it was more confirming what the person wanted to know. I'm agreeing with them. But if you wanted cards to go with this mediumship reading, which again, cards isn't about mediumship, cards is psychic, you had to pay an extra $25. So I thought was a bit rich and a bit odd. But anyway, surprisingly, the next time I was there, she actually had a special going and she was same price as me. I thought that was a bit funny. But yeah, definitely quality of readers. There's a big quality difference from when I started to now. And some are good, some are not so good. And it's hard for people to choose because you don't want to waste money now because of the cost of living either. So also too, some clients have different ethics. I will say this, if you someone's saying it's a mediumship reading, you need to expect that they will be able to connect to loved ones passed over. They should be able to give you like a description, or if they can pick up names, that's great. If they can pick up how the person was when they're here, that they should be able to pick something like that up around them. If just sort of giving you sort of future outlook, or saying, just like there's no real description, just saying, they're telling me that there's big changes coming around you. That's not really mediumship. So that's something to remember as well. I remember we had a fair up in Brisbane, and I mean, they'd advertised a bit. They reckon that they had all these people coming to their fairs prior to COVID, and it was in Brisbane. So we had to drive up to Brisbane last year. They hadn't advertised a lot, and the way that the pictures they had been advertising, I thought it was in some kind of conference center or something to that effect, or the same as like the MBS. And it wasn't. It was like a shed, and like nobody was coming to the fair, and it was a bit of a mess actually. And I remember because me and a few other stallholders actually went to the owner or the organizer and asked, "Is there any way we can get a part refund back?" Because you got to remember, people organizing these fairs, they charge stallholders a fee to be there, so they've covered their costs and made a bit of profit before the fairs even started. So for them, they've got nothing to worry about. It's more the stallholders. The stallholders, it's a stressful thing. If you're needing this as your business, trying to make a living, it can be quite stressful because you've got to put, if you've got to travel to this place, you've got to buy accommodation, how much is it going to cost you to be there? What are you going to charge people? How many people do you need to cover your costs? These are all things that play on your mind, and it can be quite stressful. People organizing the fairs, they've already made their money before you even get there. And if they're charging people at the fair, they're going to make like more icing on their cake. So this person, he'd covered his bit because he charged us a lot of money to be in a shed. And yeah, he didn't give us anything back. He said, I'll give us a discount. We weren't happy with that. The fair isn't then on again at all. And I remember after we had that running with him, another lady came out, stood in front of me and tried to get me to go to her for a reading. It was like a past life reading or something. It was the wrong timing. I was not in a good mood. And I just said to her, why are you scamming me? Like, I've lost money like you have. Why are you going to scam me? And yeah, that was a bit of a thing. So the problem is too, is the people advertising the events. They need to do their homework, do their research on the area, and advertise early. You got to advertise at least. I would do 6 months in advance. Advertise, putting flyers around the place, trying different, not just social media, putting flyers around, networking with people, going to other events. There's a fair, it's not on this year, it's a shame, but I've been going now for the last few years, been running down south, and that fair is a very good organised fair. It's not very big, but the people come. It's right near where they have the caravan parks when families are going there for school holidays, and it's on a long weekend. And that is always packed out. I think it's because people are there for the long weekend, and it's right close to the caravan parks. And I'm always busy there, flat out the whole day. So it's about your location where you are having it and how you're advertising it is one thing. And I find a lot of them, the advertising's not that great. There was one I went to last year. I had to do my own advertising because I was getting worried because nothing was being advertised. And lucky that area, I had a large client base, so I sent out text messages basically out to people, and I ended up filling my day because I did that way. So that's also something that has changed. People, and you got to remember, as I said, they've already made back their money. That's the thing. It's like a contest too. And when you get to MBS, the numbers of attendance levels at MBS have gone down dramatically this year, especially in Brisbane this year, a different way, lower than it was the other years I've been there. And for there, you got to try out to be on stage. They've taken away the speakers lounge. They've only had main stage there. And my friend and I did ask how to get on main stage, and I did apply. And I was told that my friend was told, sorry, you have to prove yourself. Well, I don't know how you meant to prove yourself. Just the way they spoke down to it, they were speaking down to us. It wasn't nice. So sometimes, the organisers aren't the best either. The MBS is very competitive. It's a completely different industry. It's on its own than the other regular fairs that you get in the other suburbs. But it's a bit of a cat fight, MBS, not going to lie. It's very competitive. The energy is not very spiritual. It's like people will have their cliques in there. I don't suck up, but you'll find a lot of people suck up to the organisers. I don't do that. I can't stand suck ups. And it's a different and a unique experience. One day I'll do behind the scenes of an MBS and expose a lot of things that go on there because it's not very spiritual. I can say that. And the fact that they're charging people, I actually made a complaint to one of the organisers and said, you're charging us more, charging people coming now, charging us more. How can we keep our prices down? Because I can't compete with the people in the reader's room. I can't compete. So then we've also got the cost of living. Petrol's gone up, food's gone up, everything's going up, interest rates going up. People don't have the money to then go and spend on crystals. I think crystals has done its day. Like they were big in the whole, I go back to the astrology. We're big in the Neptune in Pisces transit. We're coming out of that now, and people don't have the money for crystals. And I think crystals have had its day. I think crystals used the right way can be definitely a thing. But overall, I think crystals done its day because a lot of crystal shops themselves are closing up and not making the money they used to make. But just the cost of living itself has gone up a bit too much. I think though, what makes a great market, or if I was doing a market, or a psychic fair, I would have it as a community event. So I would run it so that there's things for everybody in the family, like including children. I would have like a kids corner, and I'd have like maybe free activities for the children, like colouring in, and maybe other some crafts and other bits of activities they could do. Because if the children are happy to play and if they're happy and got to be entertained, then the parents can then sort of have more time there at the fair. I would have a limit of, say, 2 crystal stores, like maybe 1 or 2 cards, if you're selling cards and other knickknacks, and have maybe 2 healers and no more so than 2 candle stores, and then have other people that sell different things. I would have like an iridologist there. I would have a naturopath there. I would have a kinesiologist there, someone that knows all about natural remedies. I would have all these things there. Then you're covering the wellness aspect. I would have get community involved and maybe even see if I could link up with community like events or people to enhance it. Maybe different agencies, they want to come and advertise what their business is all about too. Make it very different, not just have the same things. I would have a limit of, say, 5 readers out there, no more than, say, 2 on the floor, 5 in the readers' room. That's what I would, how I would have it. And I would have a stage and have different people on stage doing presentations. And I would maybe do, like I say, a reader, then someone else that's not a reader, then a reader. Like you do it alternate, but make it interesting. Again, so the longer the parents can stay, or the kids, no, sorry, the kids are happy, the parents will stay longer. But that's how I would definitely do it. You could even ask the local radio station to come and be there and to broadcast from there would be an idea, and it would be different. If you did it that way, your fair would stand out. I think it'd be a fun event, and I think people would stay for longer as well, and maybe want to spend more money too. I think also with the brand building is part of the event organizer as well as part of people being there. But I think it mostly does fall on the event organizer to have a brand, to get it out there, and to make it the best possible event that they can make it. So, what do you guys think about all this? So, have you noticed the psychic fairs changing? Do you attend as a consumer or exhibitor at the fairs? What makes you decide to go to a fair? And what puts you off going to a fair? What would make you return to a fair if you haven't been in a long time? And what is the best psychic fair you've ever attended? Let me know in the comment section. So, thank you so much for listening to another episode of Spiritual Cosmic with Lady D. I'm genuinely love to hear your thoughts on this topic. Have psychic fairs changed in your area? As I said, as pre-COVID and after COVID, there has been a big change in energy as well. Do you think there are simply too many events, or do you believe something else is driving the changes? Have you attended or exhibited at a fair recently? I'd love to know your experience was. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave a rating or review on your favorite podcast platform and share it with someone who loves spirituality, psychic development, or astrology. It really helps more people discover the podcast. If you can also connect with me on my social media, visit my website to book a reading, or join me for one of my upcoming events on the Psychic at Sea Psychic Development Cruises. Until next time, take care of yourself, trust your intuition, and remember the universe is always speaking. The question is, are you listening? I'm Lady D, and I'll see you for my next podcast.